Hello everybody and welcome. My name's Rose and thank you very much for joining me and watching this video at Butterfly Soul. So this time it's going to be a new moon reading, and the new moon this month is in the astrological sign of Scorpio, and this takes place on the 7th of November 2018. So the new moon, obviously we get one every single month, as we do 3 other phases of the moon, and the new moon in particular is about thinking about new beginnings. What seeds do we want to sow, and our intentions, what do we want to work on over the coming month. And of course we can then also incorporate the 3 other phases of the moon and work with that meaning to actually bring about our intent. Okay, so what do we want to focus on? The part with Scorpio, so Scorpio is a water sign, so therefore it is generally thought to be connected with emotion, feelings and intuition. And Scorpio itself is a sign of digging deep, healing emotional wounds, transformation and rebirth, and getting to the truth. And in tarot it's actually associated with the card of death, which you can see now. That is all about transformation, change, letting go, the old dying to wait made for the new. So this is my take on the energies. The spread that I'm actually using is a specific new moon in Scorpio spread, and it's by Ethne Dawn. And the deck that I'm going to be using, I know you've all seen it before, but it's the Gilded Tarot by Ciro Marchetti. So I'm just going to go into the reading now. So this is card 1. And in this spread, this card represents what needs transforming at this time. And as you can see, we have the King of Cups, and he is so appropriate for this time. He's actually representing Scorpio, so it couldn't have come out any better. Cups is water, so it is about that emotional element, the intuition and the feelings. As I've said before, the king to me is often the masters of our suit. So whenever he appears in one of my collective readings, I often think this is about us becoming our own masters in some way. The part of us that I think is obviously being shown that needs transforming and transmuting is our feelings. So he almost looks like he's contemplating what's coming up for us in that regard right now. The level of it feels as though it's very deep. So it feels like there may be situations around us that are almost feel like they might be forcing us to really go in there and deal with our stuff on an emotional level. It just feels like there are elements of it where we might feel we've absolutely had enough, and enough is enough. So the key at this particular period, Scorpio new moon, is to actually go inward. Things may be cropping up that we think, oh God, not this again. So things that may have happened over and over again, perhaps over a long period of time. You may find that old wounds are now coming to the surface in order to be transformed and transmuted into something else. You know, it can be hard sometimes when we're in this stuff to see the purpose of it. Why am I going through this again? And I think the trick with this is going to be, because of the elements that we're in, is to go with the feelings of it. So to go with whatever feelings are coming up at this time. I feel it's not to kind of question too much, but to just be with that basically and have those feelings that are coming up. Okay, so card 2 in this spread is the Magician. Okay, and this section of the spread is about what do I need to let go of. oddly enough, the first word that came to me with this question, what do we need to let go of, the word that I got in response was control. So the magician himself can be about our will of intent and our focus. And again, he can also be about that intention and that seed setting. What do I want to focus on this month? What do I want to set out? The sense of this I'm getting is it's whatever our process is at the moment, it is magical and it is alchemical, and it is transforming something. So it may be worth trying to think in that way and turn things around in that way if we feel we're having a bit of a rough ride of it at the moment. What I'm really being drawn to in the card is the tools that he has in front of him, and the fact that he's not actually holding on to them at all. And so that's where I was really drawn in that card. It's almost with a sense he doesn't need to. It's almost like he's saying, right, I've done what I've had to do, I've worked my magic, and now it's time to let go and trust the process. So it's that feeling of letting go that I'm getting with this, letting go of control. So whatever we intend this month, whatever we set out on this new moon, just let it go and let it do its work. Okay, just put it out there into the universe and just let it do its thing. And this magician is trusting that that's happening. Try not to control any outcomes. Try not to control the way that we think that things should be. I feel with this card it's just allowing things to unfold, and kind of go in their own flow and go in their own order. It may appear at the moment that things are not the way that we want them to be. We want something different. We might want a different life. But again, it's that feeling of almost everything has its time, everything runs its course. So either once you set the intent, let it go, or if there are things around you that are definitely not the way they want them to be, rather than pushing them away or trying to control or trying to change them, I feel there is a message to go into the flow of how they are. Okay, so yeah, that's my feeling with the magician. So card 3, how can I best cultivate inner peace? Okay, now another very apt and perfect card, the 4 of Swords. So this card says it all, really. This is basically the resting warrior, taking time out from all his battles and struggles. He can't fight all the time. None of us have the energy to fight all the time, okay? What we may find difficult with everything that we've got to deal with is to actually, it's almost that sense of letting go again and letting it be, and I've got to do something about it all the time, and you know, we've got to make it go a certain way. But with this card, I actually get, rather than doing, it's about being, and it's about taking, and I feel very physical space out of our troubles and what is going on in our lives if we have something to deal with. So obviously we've all got stuff to deal with, but it feels right now that what's important is to take our focus off that sometimes and to just go and be. I get the phrase change of scenery actually being very important. So for example, if all the problems feel like they're at home, leave the house, go and get a change of scenery, go and get a cuppa with a friend, go and walk in nature, do whatever. If all the problems are at work and yet you're at home and you're continually thinking about those problems, take yourself out of that situation, okay? Take yourself out of that situation. Come away from things that are feeling like they are weighing you down, and then replenish yourself, come back in, dive in again, okay, would be my sense of that. So to meditate and contemplate as well. Another feeling that I'm getting with this that's important, that I feel also clicks into that Scorpio energy, is it's about taking time and space to figure out what it is we actually want. The sign of Scorpio is about going inward, taking the time to do that, to get to our core, to get to our truths. And the tricky thing is we may have to consciously make ourselves do that. For some reason I'm getting a sense of being barraged by stuff, or the things that some of us have been dealing with are actually quite big issues. Are we fighting for something that we don't really want? Are we really wanting that? Is this worth walking the path through? It's that sort of feeling. So making ourselves come out of that chaos for a little bit, even if we don't really feel like we can. So again, I'll repeat, this isn't about doing, this is about being. I also feel this connects to the Magician card as well, in terms of not trying to control what is happening, but to let it flow and run its course. So it is that sense of we can't be doing with it all the time. We also need some space to be. Having space to be can help us see different ways of doing things, might help us see a quicker way of doing something, might just give us some much needed rest and peace and quiet. Okay, so card 4 is how may I best heal old pain. So for this one we have the 6 of Cups. Yet again another water card. Okay, so absolutely flooded with water here. So again, this connects to Scorpio, this connects to the emotions, okay, and the 6 of Cups itself can be about nostalgia. You can see here the 2 children in the centre of the card, so that's actually kind of connecting back to our past. May actually be connecting to, we might be thinking about different times, better times when we had fun, and it may be connecting to that inner child. Okay, what I also feel with it, because the element of this spread is about how can I best heal old wounds, I feel this is what we're going back to with this card. I feel this is about accepting and allowing those old wounds to come up and observing. I think this connects to that king energy again of healing deep wounds. Okay, so we may find ourselves going pretty deep this Scorpio new moon. So accepting and allowing those old wounds to come up. If anything is pressing our buttons right now, have a think, is this really about the here and now, or is this really about an old wound? Are you dealing with or seeing an old wound that has come up time and time again? It is that cycle, and that's your cue. An old feeling that's come up time and time again, no matter what the situation. If you're feeling I've been here before, that is quite possibly the wounds that we need to give love to. Okay, so as mentioned before, Scorpio is about transformation, particularly on an emotional level, and it is about digging deep, which can be painful. My sense with this is that it is actually about a rebirth, and enough is enough. It does feel quite intense, which is another part of the Scorpio energy, is the intensity. So what I'm also getting with this is, even though this may be difficult to go through, I actually feel the timing gives this a very timely opportunity to release old patterns and cycles through the healing of the emotions. So again, to be seen, to flip it round, to see it as an opportunity rather than a burden. Okay, so, and again, I get that sense of trying not to control it and to just be with it when it's there. And finally, card 5. Okay, so this is, what do my guides want to tell me going into this new moon cycle? For this we have the Chariot, and would you believe it's yet another water card. So this card can represent the sign of Cancer, which is water, and what's leaping out from me for me with that is it's the sign of nurture and mothering. So perhaps it's about that self-nurture, and being our own mothers, and taking care of ourselves. So I found it interesting because the magician in this spread seems to be about letting go of control. That's my feeling about him in this particular reading, and about letting go and letting God. You've done your bit, let go, let God. But the Chariot can actually be about taking control. The first message I'm being given about this card is that you have more control than you may think over certain situations, and this control feels as though it comes in the form of the power of choice. So these two sphinxes at the bottom, as they're represented in this card, can actually be about the power of choice. Which way do I go? Okay. So remember that. It's a very powerful thing to remember, that we do have choices. Okay. Also, this card in connection with Scorpio energy is very much about becoming ourselves and being our own person as well, and being true to ourselves. And this feels like the key theme for me for this reading. It feels like whatever is going on for us at the moment, whatever we have to push through with our Chariot energy, is about actually getting to the truth of who we are as a person, and what we want to go forward into, but authentically. It's telling me we do have the power and the strength to move ourselves forward, but the Scorpio energy dictates that this needs to come from a truthful and authentic place. It's almost like nothing else will do, and we may be feeling that within ourselves, because I feel that some of us are getting pretty tired of the same old cycles. So all this digging deep, this contemplation and healing of the emotional wounds, feels like it's actually about becoming more self-actualized and finding our true selves, and what makes us tick, and what do we really want, finding what we're capable of, what we can bear, what we can do as an individual. So yeah, it does feel like this journey at this time is about coming into the real truth of oneself, being who we are, choosing from there. So thank you for watching. I hope you find something here that supports you through this Scorpio new moon. Remember that everything passes, but there are some things that are necessary to help us move forward and transform and change and grow, and these things are necessary. I often think this can only lead to our liberation, and you can do this. You've got this, you can do it. So my sense in general is this is about authenticity, coming into the truth of our power and strength, to heal those things that prevent us making choices that we really want from our inner truth and core. And I almost want to say, so bear with it, flow with it, work with it, and I send you love, best wishes, and peace with all of that. So thank you very much again for tuning in. It's been a pleasure reading for you as always, and I look forward to making another video for you next time. Lots of love and take care. Bye now.